I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being there.
Queen Camilla, the embodiment of grace and power, rarely shows signs of vulnerability. But when the judge denied her $50 million bond, the Queen was visibly shaken, and her reaction was nothing short of explosive. For those watching, this wasn't just a legal matter. It was a personal affront. In an unexpected turn, the Queen, known for her poise, became enraged, and the courtroom fell silent as she stood up to address the judge. It was clear that this was no ordinary decision. This was a test of power, influence, and what was at stake for the royal family. The judge's decision had left Camilla scrambling to regain control. The ruling not only impacted her financial security, but could also affect her reputation and standing within the royal family. This bond was more than just money. It represented her ability to navigate the complex web of power and wealth she had spent her life cultivating. The denial was not just a legal blow. It was a blow to her status, and at that moment, Camilla wasn't about to let anyone diminish her authority. Her voice, calm yet filled with a sharp edge, echoed through the courtroom as she made her displeasure known. Camilla's words were carefully calculated. She wasn't just venting frustration. This was a calculated power play, a reminder that even those at the top can be tested. Her immediate response left no doubt. She would fight for what she believed was hers, no matter the cost. The Queen's words carried a weight that resonated well beyond the courtroom walls. The Queen's private strategy to overturn the ruling. While the public watched Camilla's emotional outburst in the courtroom, behind closed doors, a different strategy was unfolding. The Queen had always been a master of managing her public image, but this time, she knew the stakes were higher. The denial of the $50 million bond was not just a minor setback. It was a significant challenge to her influence, and Camilla wasn't about to let it go without a fight. In private meetings with her legal team and key family members, the Queen began to plot her next move. These private conversations revealed a side of Camilla few had seen before, an unyielding determination to regain control of the situation. Her legal team worked tirelessly, analyzing every angle, preparing for an appeal, and exploring alternative methods to pressure the judge and the court system. The stakes were incredibly high, and the Queen wasn't just relying on her status. She was using every resource at her disposal to ensure that the decision could be overturned, or, at the very least, delayed. But it wasn't just about the money. This ruling threatened more than Camilla's financial interests. It threatened her place within the royal family and her ability to influence decisions within the family's circle. As the Queen mapped out her strategy, it became clear that this legal battle was part of a larger game, a power struggle that would determine who truly held control within the family and the legacy they would leave behind. The media, of course, had already latched onto the Queen's public display of emotion, but Camilla knew that the real battle would be fought behind the scenes. The Queen, now more determined than ever, set her sights on using her influence with both the public and private entities to swing the case in her favor. What would her next move be? Would it involve backroom negotiations, or was she preparing for a full-scale legal offensive? The royal family's response. While Camilla faced down the legal system, her actions had far-reaching implications not just for her, but for the entire royal family. The battle over the $50 million bond was about more than money. It was a direct challenge to the monarchy's control and influence. The Queen's decision to make her threat public left the royal family in a delicate position. How would they respond to her open defiance of a legal ruling? Would they stand behind her, or would they distance themselves from her bold move? In the royal family, where image and tradition matter more than anything, Camilla's actions put the family's unity and reputation under intense scrutiny. While some members of the family expressed concern over how her actions could be perceived, others saw her defiance as a sign of strength. The royal family had long faced public challenges and scandal, but this legal battle was different. It wasn't about a personal scandal. It was about maintaining the integrity of their power. Some royal advisors feared that Camilla's public threat could damage the family's standing with the public and within political circles. The monarchy had always maintained a careful balance of power, and Camilla's actions could disrupt this delicate equilibrium. The public and media were watching every move, waiting to see how the royal family would react. Would they support the Queen's decision, or would they distance themselves from her in an attempt to protect the monarchy's image? However, there was another faction of the royal family that saw Camilla's fight as an opportunity to remind the public of the family's power and influence. Camilla had always been a resilient figure, and some royal members believed her actions could reinforce the idea that the monarchy could not be easily swayed by the courts. In this view, her defiance was seen as a calculated assertion of royal strength. Legal drama unfolds. As the public continued to follow Camilla's case, the legal drama unfolded with unexpected complexity. The Queen's open defiance of the judge's decision had sparked not only public interest, but also further legal complications. Was it possible for a royal to challenge the ruling so openly? Could Camilla's threat truly have a legal impact? Or was it just an emotional outburst that would soon fade into the background? The legal world was divided on the implications of Camilla's actions. Some experts believed that her threat, while provocative, was more of a strategic power play than a real legal challenge. Others saw it as a clear violation of the proper channels of legal recourse. The courtroom battle was now embroiled in a larger discussion of the role of the monarchy in the judicial system, raising questions about whether royal power could or should influence legal decisions. For the judge, this case was becoming more complicated by the minute. As Camilla's legal team began to file motions and request new hearings, the judge found themselves caught between two powerful forces, royalty and the law. The challenge wasn't just about whether the bond would be granted. It was about upholding the integrity of the legal process in the face of significant pressure. As the legal battle intensified, the judge became more entrenched in their position, unwilling to bend to public or royal influence. In the courtroom, the tension was palpable. Every new motion filed by Camilla's team seemed to ratchet up the pressure. With each passing day, the case became more than just a legal matter. It was now a showdown between the monarchy and the judiciary. For Camilla, this fight had become a matter of survival, not just wealth. She was determined to win, but the further she pushed, the more she risked jeopardizing her family's image and the future of the monarchy's role in the public eye. The media frenzy. As Camilla's legal battle continued, the media attention intensified. What had started as a courtroom matter had quickly become a media sensation. The public's fascination with the royals, combined with the high stakes of the $50 million bond, ensured that every detail of the case was scrutinized. What the world saw was a story of power, influence, and defiance. A story that the media couldn't resist turning into a global spectacle. The press had a field day with the Queen's emotional breakdown in the courtroom. And soon, every news outlet was dissecting her threat and the ramifications of her actions. Some media outlets portrayed her as a strong, fearless leader fighting for her family's future, while others painted her as a woman who had gone too far, jeopardizing everything for the sake of pride and power. The coverage was relentless, with every new development in the case fueling the public's insatiable appetite for drama. But the media frenzy wasn't just about sensationalizing the story. It was about influencing public opinion. The coverage framed the legal battle as a question of royal privilege versus judicial fairness. Camilla's actions and the resulting media storm were putting immense pressure on the judge and the legal system, as they now had to contend with the weight of public opinion as well as legal considerations. For the royal family, the media coverage became both an asset and a liability. While the press helped to shape a narrative of strength and resolve, it also amplified the stakes of the case, making it impossible for anyone to step away from the spotlight. The media didn't just cover the case, they became an integral part of the battle, influencing how the public saw the Queen, the judge, and the very nature of royal power. The judge's response. With Queen Camilla's threat hanging heavily in the air, the legal battle was far from over. The judge, having already made a firm decision to deny the $50 million bond, now faced a new challenge: how to respond to Camilla's public defiance. The courtroom drama had escalated from a legal matter to a battle of wills, with Camilla using her status to apply pressure on the court. The question was whether the judge would back down, or if they would stand firm against the Queen's threat. The judge's response was swift and resolute. Rather than folding to public or royal pressure, they reaffirmed their stance, defending the integrity of their ruling. In a rare public statement, the judge emphasized the importance of impartiality and the need to uphold the law, regardless of the individuals involved. The message was clear. The legal system would not be swayed by threats, or the influence of powerful figures. The judge's unflinching response was both a signal of strength and a clear message to Camilla. This was not a battle they would relinquish easily. Despite the judge's steadfast position, the impact of Camilla's threat lingered. The case had become more than just about money. It was about a woman of immense power testing the limits of the legal system. Camilla's tactics had sparked a larger conversation about the power dynamics between the monarchy and the courts. Was the judiciary immune to royal influence, or was it simply a matter of how much pressure the courts could withstand? The Queen had made it clear that she was not going to accept a defeat without a fight. Rogan's comments, which we'll now remove as requested, previously pointed out that the judge's response showed that they were under immense pressure. The courtroom battle had shifted beyond a mere ruling on the bond. It was now a matter of authority. In the courtroom, the judge and Camilla were engaged in a power struggle that would define the future of the case. Would the judge maintain their position, or would they cave to the external pressure from Camilla's influential camp? The next few weeks would be pivotal, as both sides geared up for the next phase of the battle. The royal family's support. As Camilla's legal battle intensified, the question of support became crucial. The royal family, known for their united front, now faced a significant test. Would they stand by Camilla in her moment of crisis, or would they distance themselves to avoid further public backlash? The Queen's actions had sparked a media storm, and with the public eye on her every move, the royal family had to decide where they stood. Behind closed doors, the royal family held tense discussions about how to respond. Some members expressed concern about the long-term implications of publicly supporting Camilla's aggressive tactics, fearing it could further damage the family's reputation. The monarchy had always been a symbol of unity and tradition, and any sign of internal conflict could tarnish their carefully curated image. There were whispers that some members of the royal family were privately uneasy about the Queen's public threat, worried that it would set a dangerous precedent. However, other family members saw this as an opportunity to reinforce the royal family's power. They believed that standing behind Camilla's actions would send a clear message that the monarchy would not be bullied, no matter the circumstances. They viewed her defiance as a demonstration of strength, an act of resilience in the face of an unjust decision. For these royal figures, supporting Camilla was a matter of upholding the family's legacy and asserting their rightful place in society. As the family weighed its options, Camilla's actions became more than just about her own fate. They were about the monarchy's future. Would the royal family back her, reinforcing her defiance and her position as a leader? Or would they distance themselves, fearing the damage to the family's carefully guarded reputation? As the battle wore on, the stakes for the monarchy were rising. Each royal family member would have to make their own decision on how to play this high-stakes game. The legal repercussions. As Queen Camilla's legal team scrambled to prepare for an appeal, the looming question became, what would happen if the court decided to overturn the judge's decision? The implications were immense. If the court granted the $50 million bond, it would mark a significant victory for Camilla, one that could shift the balance of power, and send a message that even the most powerful individuals could shape the outcome of legal proceedings. The legal system had already been tested, but an overturned decision would be seen as a direct endorsement of royal influence over the judiciary. Legal experts began to weigh in on the potential consequences of such a move. Some argued that overturning the decision would undermine the integrity of the courts, suggesting that it would be a dangerous precedent for the future. The legal system was built on impartiality and fairness, and granting the bond to Camilla could create a perception of favoritism toward the monarchy, particularly in high-profile cases like this. Others, however, believed that the case was unique enough that the court might bend to Camilla's influence, acknowledging the complex dynamics at play. Rogan's earlier insight, which we've now removed, about the complexities of these legal battles highlighted how often the wealthy and powerful can influence the law. But in this case, it would be more than just a financial consideration. It would be a moral and judicial test. Could the court stand its ground, or would Camilla's sheer force of will be enough to change the ruling? For Camilla, the legal stakes were clear. The outcome of this case could affect not just her wealth, but her power, her status, and her influence over the monarchy. A victory in court would bolster her position, while a defeat could have far-reaching consequences for her legacy. As the legal battle unfolded, the world watched. and the pressure mounted on both Camilla's team and the court system. The media circus. The media had become an essential part of Camilla's legal struggle. With every development, the media was there, amplifying her every move and influencing public opinion. Camilla knew that the courtroom was only one arena in this battle. Public opinion would play a crucial role in shaping the outcome. The press had the power to turn a setback into a victory, or to expose a misstep as a fatal flaw. And as the stakes of her legal battle grew higher, the media frenzy surrounding her only intensified. From tabloids to major outlets, the coverage of Camilla's case was everywhere. Some outlets portrayed her as a victim of an unfair ruling, fighting to protect her family's legacy. Others framed her actions as a dangerous move by a member of the royal family to undermine the judicial system. The media coverage was polarized, but one thing was clear: the public was divided, and the story was taking on a life of its own. The Queen, ever aware of the power of the press, carefully curated her public image. She made strategic media appearances, released statements, and used the press to her advantage. Camilla knew that the more she could shift the narrative in her favor, the harder it would be for the court to continue denying her bond. By framing the situation as an injustice, she could gain the public's sympathy and increase pressure on the judiciary to relent. The turning point. As Queen Camilla continued her fight, one question loomed large: what was driving her? Was this about the $50 million bond, or was it something much more personal? Camilla's actions had shocked both her supporters and her critics, but few had taken the time to truly understand the deeper motivations behind her fight. Was this a battle for power and wealth, or was it a deeper reflection of the Queen's need to assert control over her life and legacy? As the case progressed, it became clear that Camilla's motivations went far beyond the financial aspects of the case. Her actions were about more than just securing a bond. They were about defining who she was in the face of opposition. In her mind, this fight was a test of her authority, not just as a royal figure, but as a woman who had spent her life battling against expectations and challenges. To her, this legal struggle represented the ultimate moment of power, where she could prove, once and for all, that she would not be swayed by anyone, not even the courts. The final showdown. As the courtroom drama escalated, Queen Camilla found herself facing the most critical moment of her legal battle. The judge had stood firm in their decision, public opinion had been polarized, and the royal family was watching closely. Camilla's next move would be her final attempt to secure the $50 million bond, and everything was riding on this last round. The pressure had never been higher, and the Queen had to decide whether to push further, settle, or find another way to achieve her goal. In the final hearing, Camilla's legal team presented their strongest arguments yet, aiming to sway the judge's opinion and convince the court that the denial of the bond was unjust. Behind the scenes, Camilla continued to assert her influence, making sure that all the right people were in her corner. She had carefully orchestrated her moves, and now, the Queen was determined to take control of the situation once and for all. But what would be the cost of this final effort? The world's attention was fixed on the courtroom, and with each passing moment, it was becoming clear that this wasn't just a legal battle. It was a spectacle, with stakes higher than anyone could have predicted. Queen Camilla's last-ditch effort to secure the $50 million bond had become more than just about money. It was a test of her resilience, her power, and her ability to influence the course of history. This was her moment to prove that she could overcome any obstacle, no matter how difficult. Yet, as the arguments were made, and the judge deliberated, the Queen was faced with a daunting question. Was this fight worth the risk? Would winning the bond come at the cost of her reputation, her position in the royal family, or even her legacy? This final showdown would determine not just the financial outcome of the case, but the future of Camilla's influence and her place within the monarchy. The aftermath. As the judge's final verdict echoed through the courtroom, the outcome sent shockwaves throughout the world. The battle for the $50 million bond was over, but the consequences of the ruling were far from finished. Queen Camilla, known for her determination and her unyielding drive, now had to face the aftermath of her intense legal battle. How would she handle the results? Would this defeat or victory define the rest of her reign, or was there still more to come? The aftermath of the ruling was filled with mixed emotions. For Camilla, the verdict wasn't just about the bond. It was about the future of her family's power and her legacy. The ruling forced the Queen to reckon with the reality of what it meant to fight for control in the public eye. Whether she had won or lost, Camilla's role in the royal family would never be the same. Her influence had been tested like never before, and the world had watched her fight to the very end. What do you think of Queen Camilla's explosive legal battle?
This secluded house in Wiltshire belongs to Camilla Parker Bowles, and it's not very far from Highgrove, Prince Charles's country retreat.
Behind tall gates and grand walls sits a house full of surprises. It belongs to Queen Camilla, and it's nothing like the castles and palaces most people imagine when they think of royalty. This home has a charm of its own, elegant, warm, and filled with little details that reveal a more personal side of the Queen. Some rooms are breathtaking, others are unexpected, and a few may even leave people wondering why they were designed that way. From cozy corners to stunning decor, this is a rare look inside a royal home like no other. The grounds and exterior. As you drive through the countryside of Wiltshire, you might miss it if you're not paying attention. Tucked away behind trees and green fields, Queen Camilla's private home, Raymill House, stands quietly. It doesn't scream royalty at all. Instead, it whispers, home. The estate spreads over 17 acres of peaceful countryside. That's huge. There's so much space around the house, but it doesn't feel lonely. Instead, it feels private, like a safe little world hidden away from everything. The air feels fresher here, and the sky looks just a little bit bigger. The house itself is like something straight out of an old English fairy tale. It's built from beautiful old stone, giving it this warm, timeless look. You can tell this house has seen a lot of history, but still feels very loved. Pitched roofs add that classic countryside charm, and the large windows make you imagine how lovely it must be inside with sunlight pouring through. All around the house, there are private gardens filled with flowers, trees, and neatly trimmed bushes. There's even a peaceful stream running through the property. Can you imagine sitting by the water, listening to it flow while sipping tea? It's like a dream. Then, there are the stables and paddocks, perfect for Camilla's horses. Her love for animals is well known, and this home reflects that perfectly. Dogs running around, horses grazing. It's a little heaven for any animal lover. And what really stands out is how different this place feels compared to the usual royal homes we've all seen. Buckingham Palace is grand and formal, with golden gates and red carpets. Windsor Castle feels historic and mighty, standing tall like a fortress. But Raymill House? It's soft, it's welcoming, and it feels like it was made for real living, not just waving to crowds. You get the sense that this is where Queen Camilla truly feels like herself, away from the royal rules, just enjoying the simple, beautiful things in life. The interior aesthetic. Now imagine walking through the front door. You might expect shiny chandeliers or gold-trimmed walls, but that's not what you find here. Instead, Raymill House feels warm, cozy, and lived in, like a home that's been loved for years. The style inside is everything you'd imagine from a classic English country home. There's vintage furniture that looks comfortable rather than fancy. Big, squishy sofas you can sink into, with floral prints that make the whole place feel soft and welcoming. The colors inside are warm and earthy, creams, soft yellows, and gentle greens that remind you of nature outside. There are personal touches everywhere. Family portraits hang on the walls, showing smiling faces that mean something to Camilla. Antique decorations sit on wooden shelves, probably collected over the years, each with its own story. And then there are the bookshelves, old, worn, and overflowing with books. You can almost picture Camilla curled up with a book, reading by the fire on a rainy afternoon. The living room is spacious but still feels homey. There's a traditional fireplace, probably the heart of the home in winter. Big windows let in the light, making the whole space feel warm even on cold days. Rich fabrics like velvet or wool add a soft, cozy feeling. Everything feels thoughtful but never showy. There are even rumors of a stunning private library or a huge book collection tucked away somewhere in the house. Camilla is known to love reading, so it wouldn't be surprising if she's created her little book heaven right here. And honestly, that just makes the place feel even more real and relatable. What's truly special is how this home feels. It's not a cold, perfect palace where everything is placed just so. Instead, it feels lived in. It feels like somewhere you can kick off your shoes, have a cup of tea, and just relax. It's not a museum. It's a home. Camilla's favorite rooms and private spaces. Every home has its special corners, the places you love the most. And in Ray Mill House, you can almost guess where Queen Camilla loves to spend her time. One of the most beautiful spots in the house is said to be the sunlit conservatory. Imagine sitting there in the morning with a cup of coffee, the sun shining through the glass, plants all around you, and the view of the garden just outside. It sounds perfect, right? It's the kind of peaceful spot anyone would dream of. Then there's probably a reading nook somewhere. Maybe near one of those big windows, where Camilla can curl up with a good book. Given her love for reading, it wouldn't be a surprise if she disappears into her favorite stories right there. There's also talk of a garden view sitting room, where she can just sit back and enjoy the view. Maybe she watches the seasons change, the flowers blooming in spring, the golden leaves falling in autumn. It's easy to imagine how calming that must be. Animal lovers will be happy to know that animal-themed decor is sprinkled all around the house. There are paintings or little sculptures of horses and dogs showing just how much Camilla adores them. It makes the house feel even more personal. And of course, there's the kitchen, the heart of any home. It's probably large, cozy, and warm. You can almost smell freshly baked bread or a Sunday roast. You can picture the family gathered here, especially during the holidays, sharing stories and laughter. The stunning gardens and outdoor spaces. Stepping outside again, the gardens are something truly magical. Camilla is known to love gardening, and it really shows here. You can imagine her walking through the garden with a pair of gloves on, trimming roses or planting new flowers. There are rose gardens bursting with colors, reds, pinks, yellows, and whites. The smell must be heavenly. There are vegetable patches too, where she probably grows fresh veggies and herbs. Nothing fancy, just simple good things from the earth. Ornamental shrubs are perfectly shaped, adding that touch of beauty and care. The garden is not just for show, it's a place to live in. You can picture outdoor tea parties here, maybe with her grandchildren running around laughing. It's the kind of garden where memories are made. Then there are the paddocks, perfect for her horses. Horses have always been a big part of Camilla's life, and having them so close must bring her so much joy. Watching them graze quietly in the fields adds to the peacefulness of the place. The gentle stream running through the property makes everything feel even calmer. It's like nature's music, always there in the background. You can almost hear the soft sound of water flowing as you sit on a bench, just taking it all in. And sometimes, you might even catch a glimpse of her grandchildren playing outdoors, their laughter filling the air. It's not hard to see why Camilla loves this place so much. It's not just a house, it's a home full of life, love, and laughter. Ray Mill House versus royal residences. When you look at Ray Mill House, it's hard to believe it belongs to the Queen Consort of England. Compared to the grand royal homes, this house feels like a different world. Think about Clarence House, Camilla, and King Charles's official residence in London. It's grand, full of royal paintings and priceless antiques. Every corner speaks of history and duty. Or imagine Buckingham Palace, with its golden gates and guards in tall hats. It's like a symbol of power and tradition. Even Balmoral Castle in Scotland feels like it belongs to another era. Big, cold, and mighty. But Ray Mill House? It's none of those things. It's cozy, warm, and incredibly private. It feels like Camilla's secret world, where she can just be herself. No cameras, no crowds, no royal expectations, just peace. And that's probably why she held on to it even after marrying King Charles. It's her sanctuary, the one place that's truly hers. A place where she can walk around in slippers, read a book by the fire, or play with her dogs without anyone watching. In a world where every move is public, Ray Mill House gives her privacy and independence. It's not part of the royal collection. It's not a crown-owned property. It's Camilla's own little kingdom, and that's what makes it so special. And honestly, that's what makes Ray Mill House so fascinating. It's not just the size or the land or even the history. It's the feeling you get just looking at it. It's a reminder that even queens need a place to breathe, a place that feels like home, a place where life is simple, quiet, and real. Queen Camilla's home is truly one of a kind, full of history, elegance, and a few unexpected surprises. It's a place that feels both royal and personal, showing a side of the queen that few ever get to see. What do you think about her house? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this look inside, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.